Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a topic where science has literally rewritten the history books. We're mapping out the modern medical reality of HIV. For a really long time, the whole narrative around this virus was, well, pretty grim. It was mostly about fear. But science hasn't just been standing still. In fact, medical advancements have completely transformed how we understand, treat, and actually prevent this virus. So today we're going to walk step by step through what this virus really is, how treatments have totally revolutionized patient care, and the amazing tools we now have to stop it right in its tracks.
Okay, let's dive into this with a pretty staggering question for you. Did you know that modern medicine can actually make HIV completely untransmittable? Seriously, take a second to just let that sink in. A virus that literally defined a global health crisis can now be managed so effectively that it cannot be passed on. It's an absolutely incredible medical reality. But to really wrap our heads around the magnitude of this triumph, we kind of need to take a step back. We've got to understand the nuts and bolts of the virus itself, what it actually does to the human body, and why it was just so devastating before these modern breakthroughs came along.
Act 1. The biological threat. To fully appreciate the medical solution, we really have to break down what we're actually up against here. Let's start right at the beginning with the name itself. HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus, and the absolutely crucial word to focus on here is immunodeficiency. See, this isn't a bug that just gives you a nasty cough or a fever. No, it's a virus that specifically targets and attacks your body's own immune system. It goes directly after the natural defense mechanisms your body relies on to keep you safe from just everyday illnesses. By hijacking the immune system, the virus systematically weakens your body's ability to protect itself. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is looking at exactly how the virus dismantles those defenses. It targets something called CD4 cells. Think of CD4 cells as, like, the frontline commanders of your immune system. They're these highly specific cells, and their whole entire job is to help your body fight off infections. When a pathogen sneaks into your body, these CD4 cells are the ones sounding the alarm and coordinating the counterattack. And this is exactly why HIV is so incredibly destructive. It makes these vital CD4 cells its main target. It doesn't just try to hide from the immune system, it actively hunts down and destroys the very cells that are supposed to be doing the fighting. So if we map this out on a timeline of progression without treatment, we see a really clear step-by-step biological cascade. Step 1 is the initial attack. HIV enters the body and, boom, immediately starts attacking the immune system. Moving on to Step 2, over time, those crucial CD4 frontline commanders we just talked about, they get severely depleted. The body essentially loses its generals. And finally, in Step 3, this systematic destruction progresses to AIDS. AIDS is the most advanced stage of the infection. It's the point where the immune system is so badly damaged that the body is left completely vulnerable to almost any infection. For a long time, this was the terrifying reality of the virus. Act 2, the medical triumph. Thankfully, the story doesn't end with that frightening reality. Let's shift gears to the truly empowering reality of modern science. The absolute turning point in this entire global fight comes down to one thing: antiretroviral therapy. This is the medical breakthrough that honestly changed everything. Antiretroviral therapy, or ART, is a specialized treatment that actually stops the virus from multiplying in the body. Because of this phenomenal therapy, getting a diagnosis today is nowhere near what it once was. Now, antiretroviral therapy allows people living with HIV to live really long, healthy lives. The treatment basically steps in, throws a shield around the immune system, and completely halts that biological cascade we looked at just a minute ago. But the power of this treatment, it goes way beyond just protecting the individual. When HIV is undetectable, it cannot be transmitted through sex. Let that sink in for a second. So the crucial point is, antiretroviral therapy doesn't just keep a person healthy. It reduces the amount of the virus in the body to levels that are so unbelievably low, they're actually considered undetectable by standard tests. And when the virus is undetectable, we hit a massive, game-changing paradigm shift in medicine. It cannot be transmitted. The chain of transmission is literally broken by the treatment. And this brilliantly illustrates the stark contrast between the historical progression of the untreated virus, which, as we saw, was a reality of systemic failure, and the modern reality where undetectable equals untransmittable. It's like night and day. Through the power of modern antiretroviral treatment, individuals are living long, fulfilling lives, and the virus is actively stopped from spreading. It's literally a visual representation of one of the greatest scientific victories in human history. Act 3. Protecting the community. So what does this all mean for us? Let's shift our focus to the actionable, proactive steps we can all take. Let's move to and see how this builds our modern defense strategy. First and foremost, regular testing. Knowing your status is the absolute bedrock of all prevention. Second, condom use. It remains a vital, highly effective physical barrier against transmission. But science hasn't stopped there. We've been given even more tools. We now have specialized preventive medicines called PrEP and PEP. PrEP is a daily pill taken proactively, kind of like a shield to prevent the virus from ever taking hold. PEP, on the other hand, is an emergency medication you take shortly after a potential exposure. The takeaway here? We are no longer defenseless. We have a robust, comprehensive toolkit for prevention.
Which brings us to the most important question of this explainer. Will accurate information and early testing be the key to protecting our communities? Well, based on everything we've unpacked today, the answer is undeniably yes. Accurate information and early testing protect everyone, individuals and the wider community. We've got the science, we've got the antiretroviral therapies that lead to long, healthy lives and literally make the virus untransmittable. And we've got preventative medicines like PrEP and PEP. The only thing standing between us and the end of this epidemic is spreading this accurate information and empowering every single person to get tested early. When we actually understand the science, we replace fear with action. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this knowledge leaves you feeling just as empowered and optimistic about the future of medicine as I am. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.